Hi friends, welcome back. Over the last couple of weeks, I was able to present my work at a virtual conference called Dynamic Walking. I had major fears about public speaking, and one of the reasons why I started my PhD was to build my confidence and also to better my communication skills in a presentation style. So this was my first conference during my PhD that I was able to present my work, and I want to talk a little bit about that experience. Earlier this year, my advisor asked that I submitted 2 abstracts of my work to 2 conferences, Dynamic Walking and American Society of Biomechanics. I wasn't sure due to the COVID pandemic whether we would still have a conference to attend, so I just waited around until they gave us more feedback on what was going to happen. We got word that they canceled the in-person conferences. However, I didn't think that I would be presenting my work anymore. A week before the Dynamic Walking virtual conference, I received an email saying that my abstract was accepted and to please prepare a poster and presentation for the event. I told my advisor, and we were both pretty shocked at the short timeline. However, she said that she thinks we can get it done. So she said we'll have numerous iterations to do over the weekend in order to get it ready for the following week. I totally underestimated my advisor's statements, and I thought that perhaps 2 or 3 iterations and my poster would be ready. The journey that weekend was, so I'll admit, my first draft, I was being very lazy. I literally copied and pasted the different sections from my abstract and put it together on a PowerPoint slide in a poster format. When I submitted it to my advisor for review, she literally tore it apart, as expected. I went back, I made the changes, and I was like, okay, great, I'm ready to go. Here you go, advisor, take this. Scribbled up all over the poster and had numerous comments and edits, and I was just like, wow, okay, no problem. 3rd time's a charm. So I did up my poster again, I made all the edits, I made sure everything was great, submitted. Yet again, scribbles all over, changes, edits. So I had to take a deep breath and say, well, okay, maybe this is the last time she's going to have so many edits for my poster. Changing words, figures, structure, etc. Sent it off, expecting good news. And guess what? Bombshell. My advisor was like, why don't you just do this analysis instead? So, I mean, I don't know if you'll ever experience this, but you as a PhD student, you know how you coded up your materials, you know where everything is, you know what you currently have, and you know what it takes to produce something outside of that scope. So when my advisor asked me to include these different types of analyses in the poster, and I know I only have a couple more days left, I could already see myself working long hours to get the results for her. And in the end, I was like, okay, great, this is perfect. She's gonna love it. I did it. Let's go. Draft number 4. She literally was like, these results don't look good. She was like, take it out of the poster now. I don't think it really applies. It's the most annoying situation to be in, but this definitely helped me grow as an individual and helped me realize that, you know, striving to attain a PhD and being a PhD student isn't just slapdash work, right? This is the training that I'm currently getting to make sure that my work is crisp, make sure that I'm understanding every step of the way, and when I submit things, it's not anyhow. So as much as I was kind of annoyed because I don't like working under pressure, in a sense, like having such time constraints, at the same time, it taught me that given your limited time constraints, you need to work and push harder and get out a product that is good enough for viewers. I don't normally do this, but I had to summon some help. I had to drink a lot of coffee. I never drink coffee really, only if I'm passing by Starbucks and I see a drink that I like, which is rare. But yeah, I drank coffee like every day, and I was up for long hours, all up to 2 a.m. working, and then I'll have the poster on my mind during the night, so I don't get that much sleep, good sleep, and waking up again to see if my advisor made any new changes to the draft. One thing my advisor mentioned was that she thought the clarity of my figures could be a lot better, and she asked that I edit them in figure editing software, perhaps Adobe Illustrator. That's the one the lab currently uses, and just clean them up a little bit. But I had no idea how to use Illustrator. Did a half-an-hour workshop with one of my lab mates, and I forgot everything. And now I have maybe a day and a half to clean up all these figures and make sure they're clear and looking presentable for a conference. I asked my friend to assist me around midnight, and she gave me some tips. But then it was literally me and the computer chugging away, just trying different things, Googling how to do things until I was able to understand the basics of how to use Adobe Illustrator. Big tip for those first-year PhD students and those trying to do a PhD, please try to get your hands on some type of figure editor, and that would save you a lot of time when preparing your manuscripts, posters, etc. In total, I had 16 iterations before I had my finished poster. The first one was way too wordy. The second one, still a little wordy. The figures needed editing. When we got down to about draft 9, you can see that there were minor changes to be made with like font sizes being different amongst the different figures, etc. And everything needed to be consistent. So I had to go back into Illustrator and change all the font sizes, make sure everything was similar. 3 hours before the deadline, my advisor said, okay, go ahead and submit. I was literally working on this poster for all the days from the moment I got the email saying I needed to present a poster up until hours before the deadline. And was it worth it? Definitely. I was able to learn the basics of Illustrator, take constructive feedback, and learn to use constructive feedback to better a product and not just fail under pressure. In addition, I was very grateful that my advisor made sure the lab sat in on at least 2 run-throughs of my poster presentation, so that on the day of the presentation I didn't feel nervous and I was more prepared to answer questions. So here are a few clips from the actual day of my poster presentation, which was held on this very, very interesting website or platform called Spatial Chat. It allowed about 6 presenters to put up their posters on this screen, and everyone that logs into the room gets a little circle or avatar of their face if you choose to show your video. And what you do is you drag your little avatar to whichever poster you want to visit and listen in on or ask questions to the presenter. So it's really cool because I shared it with my family, which is also a plus for this virtual conference. Typically, family members don't come to academic conferences because they're held across the world, and also they're very costly. Thankfully, this one was free, so some of my family members were able to sit in, ask questions on my work, etc., and it was loads of fun.
Maybe the motivation for using switched linear dynamical systems, and then from there, if you can just discuss the work that you've done here, that'd be great.
Okay, so we're interested in using the switched linear dynamical system model, particularly for human-robot interaction and rehabilitation robotics. So I was thinking that this can be a good tool to use in conjunction with control theory to perhaps allow patients, stroke patients is the population that I'm interested in, to allow them to obtain or maintain a certain desired kinematic trajectory during their gait. So that's the aspect that I'm coming from with using this model. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if it's an intent question. That definitely is something that I could look into. It sounds interesting, but just making sure that the right kinematic features are maintained for these patients, I think, is the goal right now.
And hi, Lena, how are you? You can hear my loud background here. Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so yeah, then if you don't mind just walking through what you've done here, that'd be great.
Sure. So this switched linear dynamical system, it's an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. And what we have it doing is inferring gait phases as well as generating future joint angle kinematics.
I think that'd be really interesting to see, especially when you start asking questions about generalization from one speed to another.
Yeah. Across different gait impairments would be another good avenue to check out.
Cool. Well, yeah. If you ever want to chat more about our work or what you're doing, we should just set up a time to do that at some point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Where's everybody else here from? I see like 4 other people here.
My mom and sister in that bubble.
Hey.
Hi.
My mom and sis.
As a first-year PhD student, I wasn't too sure what the big hype was for attending academic conferences and presenting your work there. However, because this was my first experience, I've learned a lot about being part of these academic congregations. First thing I learned was never underestimate the amount of time it will take you to edit and review your abstracts, poster presentations, etc. I'd done a template of my poster before I got confirmation that I actually had to present. I would have been a little more prepared to just do a couple more iterations to reach the finished product. However, since I was starting from scratch and I only had a couple days to do it, it felt like I was burning out in overdrive to reach the finished product. Secondly, I learned how important it was to have skills in figure editing. These conferences also allow for you to see what others are doing in the field, and perhaps you can share some of your ideas. More than one person working on the same project but coming at it from different perspectives can give a lot of insight into the work that you're doing. I was also able to address questions that I've never even thought about before concerning my project, and I think in the end this will help build my project and consider ideas that I never have before, because we're all trying to solve similar problems, and by coming together in such a fashion, perhaps we can get to the solution faster. I was so proud to see a conference be put out on a virtual platform and be so successful. I felt like I was actually in the room with people. My advisor introduced me to some of her colleagues, and it felt amazing to be meeting people all over the world that I would not have gotten the opportunity to do so had it not been virtual, or had I not had a lot of money to go to a physical conference. Last of all, the best part of this experience was that I was home in my house and I attended an academic conference in short pants.